Hey guys, Matt Catling here. I hope you're really well. And today we have our micro accelerator. And today we're talking about the limiting pattern identification system, or the pattern ID system, as I like to call it. And what I find is that when you use this process, when I use this process with my clients in the Freedom Accelerator program, we really accelerate their ability to be able to notice opportunities, to be able to receive money. Often what can happen is when it comes to wealth creation is that we can be out of balance energetically. Now, a lot of experts actually talk about when it comes to wealth creation, that 80% is mindset, 20% is strategy, and then they go and teach 80% strategy and then 20% mindset, and really the mindset stuff that they teach is kind of like really outdated in comparison to what we have today, with especially what we teach, rapid change technologies. It's really begun to use the unconscious mind to be able to generate energy. That's what we want to be able to do, because if you think about it, 80% of creation is energy. But most people, they're so stuck on the doing, and they don't realize your energy introduces you. There's so much information coming to us every second. Often we delete most of the information, and that includes opportunities. And so if you kind of get your energy right, or your unconscious right, your mindset, because your mindset generates energy, then you start to be aware of opportunities, but also you start to kind of execute on those opportunities. You've probably heard me say this before, is that there's no $1 million ideas, it's $1 million execution. So we want to kind of get the head in the game so that we start to execute. Now, the challenge often is when it comes to, say, wealth, we can be stuck in the past. And we may not know this consciously, but unconsciously, we may have picked up some limiting ideas or limiting concepts. We've played those ideas, 1 million times as stories, and they've become belief systems. And then all of a sudden it's become part of our identity. Often when it comes to money specifically, I say to my clients or people in the Freedom Accelerator, when you think of money, how do you feel? What's the first thing that comes up for you? What's the emotion? Remember, energy in motion. Now, if it's a limiting emotion, if it's a negative emotion, often people will say, "Oh, I feel stressed," or "There's not enough," or "I feel guilty," or "I feel fear," or "I feel frustration," or whatever it is. That's the energy that you're putting out there. And so, with the limiting pattern identification system, what we want to be able to do is really shift that polarity, to shift that energy, and we really want to balance it. I believe, for instance, from a business point of view, you want to be able to balance the giving and receiving. If you've got a blockage around receiving, then guess what? You probably won't attract opportunities. Now, with our Freedom Accelerator program, which, guys, if you're interested, please reach out to us. With our Freedom Accelerator program, we have one of the programs that's called the Wealth Accelerator. Now, can you believe in our Wealth Accelerator program, it's a 6-week program, intensive program that's part of the Freedom Accelerator, we had one group create 465,000 in the space of 6 weeks using these techniques. I've been able to have people that have, been in, say, a job with no real opportunity to earn more than the income from that job as an employee, kind of switch on their energy. And one lady, within 2 weeks after doing a process similar to this, created 26,000 because she tapped into a new level of creativity. We opened up her ability to be able to receive. In the last 13 months, I've had clients that have gone from basically zero, almost bankruptcy, to launching an idea and then being valued at almost 300 million. That's in 13 months, again, using these types of techniques. So, as always, doing this stuff with an expert in RCT, or like one of our master RCT coaches, is the best way to do it, because when you're stuck in a problem, all you see is the problem. And so please, if you want some support, you want to be part of the Freedom Accelerator, or you need some help one-on-one, please reach out. You can see that there, support@yourfuturenow.com.au. We are here to help. And I think what's happening in the world at the moment, with all of the stress, prices increasing, all of that type of stuff, interest rates going up, this is the most important information that you could be doing. Is really, again, 80% of the game is mindset. We need to accelerate. We're living in a new accelerated world. And the way to accelerate, again, is looking at the unconscious mind and shifting the energy there. So you're going to love the pattern ID system. So let's really jump into it. So I put a series of questions here for you. We're going to do the pattern ID system is like a graphing system, and it's really designed to bring things to consciousness. When patterns are at an unconscious level, they often run untethered. But when you bring them to consciousness, then you have a decision. You have a decision whether you participate in this, and then suddenly you can actually start to see the limiting pattern and how from just one idea, it's then caused a whole pattern that has held you back. And so I've given you the questions here, and we'll look at the graph on the next page in just a second. We want to look at what's the first experience that you can remember involving money. Was it positive or negative? We're going to look at between positive and negative 10. And we're going to really identify it. We're going to go, you know what, this was like a negative 10 experience, or this was a positive 10 experience. And then we're going to look at, you know, how old you were, and then we're going to look at what was the decision, what did you decide, what was the idea that came through. And I also look at, you know, not just the idea, what was the emotion, how did you feel, and then we repeat this from where you are right now all the way to we repeat this from your earliest memory, I should say, all the way to where you are right now. And it's a really, really powerful process. So let's bring up the graph here. You should see it in your workbook. By the way, if you don't have a workbook, please just type in the chat workbook. We'll get that workbook for you. You need this workbook. It's so much easier than just drawing this. And so if we look at the graph on screen at the moment, you can see on the left-hand side, we've got experience. And the experience was it a positive experience? Was it a negative experience? You can see we've got the neutral position in the middle, and then we have positive 10, but then we have negative 10. So if it was a positive experience, it's going to be between 0 and obviously positive 10. If it's a negative experience, 0 and negative 10. And then at the bottom, we have the age. So what we're doing is this. We're trusting our unconscious mind, or trusting our intuition, everybody. And the intuition, think of your intuition, your inside teacher, your inside tutor. It's typically the first voice that pops up. So we trust the first thing that comes up. Now, I remember when I did this activity, it was actually incredible. And so I thought to myself, what was the earliest memory that I had when it came to money? And I was about, maybe 10 years old, I think it was, maybe 8 years old. I can't remember specifically. And so I was 10 years old, and it was actually, probably more 8 years old, and it was actually a really negative experience. For me, it was like my first experience of money, or having a lot of money at the time. And so I was 8 years old, it was my birthday, and I got all this birthday money, and it was probably like about $5 or $6 or something like that, maybe more, maybe $10. And I had all this money in my wallet. Now, remember back in the day, it had like $2 notes. I had all of these notes. I felt rich. And then my dad looked down at me, and we're at Warringah Mall shopping center, going shopping. He goes, Matt, never, ever take all of your money out with you. Never hold all of your money, because guess what? You'll lose it. Now, guess what happened? I lost my wallet, and my dad didn't give me any more money. And so that was intense for me. And so I'll draw it on here, and this is what you're going to do, is we look at, okay, well, I was 8 years old, so roughly around here, just say 10 to make it easy. So I was 10 years old, and this was like a negative, probably like a, maybe a 9 for me back then, first experience. So what am I doing? I'm going from here, and then I'm plotting it roughly about here. So just like X marks the spot. And then what I'm going to do, and this is to make this work really well, is that I'm going to write down the decision. What was the decision that I took on, and how did I feel? So I always write it next to this point. And so my decision was that if I have money, I'm going to lose it. And then the emotion that I started to feel was two emotions. I felt guilty, and also I felt fearful. Now, I could not believe this. This was the start of a limiting pattern. So then when I had money, guess what I did? I was so worried that I was going to lose it that I had to get rid of it as fast as possible. I had to spend it as fast as possible. And I remember I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, I'd have like $1,000 in my wallet or something like that, and then it would be gone within a day. I'd spent on random silly stuff. And this, I just could not understand. I did this process, in my early 20s, the first time I did a process like this. And I was like, wow, it makes so much sense. And just by bringing that to consciousness, all of a sudden I had a decision. Then what we do is we then think of the next one. What was the next experience? Trust your unconscious mind. Between 0 and 10, was it negative and positive? Get a specific numeric, okay? And then the age, and then plotting it. And we're just doing this, writing it next to it, all the details. And we go through all the way back to now. Then what you're going to do, you're going to play dot to dot. And so we then just join each of these areas. And you can see it may look like the stock market or the property market, which is obviously driven by emotion, everybody. But by bringing this to consciousness, you can now see your blueprint when it comes to money. You can now see every single decision when it comes to money. You go back through all of these experiences and you bring that energy and those decisions from this experience. And remember, your decision is your destiny. Your decisions can accelerate your wealth, or your decisions can put like a handbrake on when it comes to you being able to create wealth. So it kind of looks like if we look at the next slide, just a bit of an example, it could look like this. Money's exciting. I can't control my money. Money is fun. And just by bringing this to consciousness, wow, we have a snapshot. We go, oh, wow. Well, now we can see the patterns that have been we've been bringing into our business. We've been bringing into our relationship with money. Even sometimes this is connected to our ability to receive love. Now, with this, I use this. The next step is, get an RCT person to work with you to shift this, or join our Freedom Accelerator. This is what we do intensely in our Freedom Accelerator. And I, by the way, with what's happening in the world at the moment, that is a place to be. A really positive community, education based on results, one-to-one work to really, as I said, accelerate your wealth, accelerate your relationships, or your ability to be able to attract authentic relationships, heal previous relationships, and really accelerate your health. Accelerate your life force so that you've got energy to get out there and create. And that's really what the Freedom Accelerator program is. And so we are taking registrations for that at the moment. If you're interested, and we'd love to have you in there, just reach out. Next thing is we have Live It Now coming up. We've got Live It Now coming up on the 2nd and 3rd of July. We're really excited about that. This is a free event that we run. We raise money for Bear Cottage. This is my way to create a positive world, one person at a time, to be able to share the power of rapid change technologies, because I really believe where we are in this accelerated world, this is the information that we need. We need to be doing mindset work. We need to be getting, coaching and support, being on a true target. We need to be in a really positive, high-performing community that are really going to the next level. And we need to be armed with the best strategies based on what's happening in this world right now. You've heard me say this before. The Industrial Revolution's over. We are now in a new accelerated world. It requires an accelerated version of you. And so, as always, please reach out if you need any help. We're here to support you. And please be active in the Breakout to Success group. Any questions that you have, please post any questions. My team and I, we are watching. We're here to help. We're here to support you. And you might find that this crisis, these challenges that we're facing, are the key to unlock your authentic power and really create total freedom in life and business. So again, hope to see you in some of our live events coming up. Take care, and stay tuned for the next micro accelerator that we're running. Bye for now.